What's the motherfucking deal? Now look here. It's Sauce Sports. First, if you're not familiar with Sauce Sports is the Houston, Texas Homer Network. We talking all sports, but only Houston. But it's Fuck 'em Friday. Now, all the shit that's gone down this week in the city of Houston, I better see that motherfucking chat overloaded with some fuck'ems. I better hear some fuck everything from baseball to basketball to some football, shit, some soccer. I don't even know who y'all gonna be talking about. Fuck you too, but I better hear some everything. If your boss been on your nerves this week, if your significant other on your nerves this week, some of y'all young, your mama on your nerves, your dog on your nerves, I want to hear all that shit. But here's the deal, man. We got two gentlemen joining us this evening. If y'all are familiar with the round table, then y'all should already know. But if you're not familiar with the round table, man, you need to get on your shit. Who do we have joining us this evening?
It's Toxic City Tinny, baby. Let's get this shit. One time for the Astros.
Already.
Yeah, you got your boy Third Coast Sports TV Wink in the building once again. Fuck those to all those franchises of Houston who couldn't get a win this week, and now they're leaving it into the hands of the Texans to give us another shitty performance. But hopefully they clean the shit up.
And if you don't know, I am your host, Ed Honcho, and we're going to get into some very interesting conversation tonight. And actually, Mike just made a very good point. We're going to talk about that, too. We're going to talk about some Houston juju, but we're going to talk about, what's going on with these Texans versus these Jaguars. This is a matchup we've been talking about for quite some time. And honestly, I think both teams did not expect it to be the way it is. Both teams going 3-3 in this week. I don't think they expected it, before the season started. I don't think they expected it at this point in the season, but there's plenty to talk about. But before we get into any of that, we got to talk about the most important thing happening in the city of Houston. If you don't know what that is you, motherfucking me, Sauce Nation. And so how we got to show y'all a little bit of love, because that's what we do, man. It is all about the love. We're going to get a little Sauce Nation roll call going. That means, hey, if you are from the city of Houston, the greater Houston area, man, shout out your side with pride. We'll send a little bit of love in your direction. Even if you're not from Houston, even if you're not a Houston fan, you just fuck with the Sauce, man. You got love for the round table. You got love for your boy Honcho, man. Hey, all you got to do is let us know. We can send a little bit of that digital love in your location. We're going to shout you out, too. And while we're getting that together, man, make sure you go and follow on Instagram and Twitter, Sauce Sports HTX. Make sure you hit that link in the description. Links in the description. All the round table tubers have channels. So make sure you go give everybody a follow. We're trying to grow this thing, man. And most of all, it's about y'all. And if you don't know, we do this every evening at 7 p.m. unless it's a pregame, which is, pregame for the NFL, pregame for the NBA. We usually go an hour ahead of whatever time the game starts. So, yes, tomorrow the Lakers and Rockets will be getting it in, and so we'll have a pregame for that. So we got the nigga who good, Miss Voodoo C, one half of the greatest moderating couple in all the land, T-Mac, Seth Clark, Clutch Game, and Joshua Wise, Tenny holding down the table, holding down the stream and in the chat, Dr. Rabbit, Days Gambino, Beast Mode Engaged, Solis, Jay Bird, Jamal, Bo, David Pritchard, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see, Homer, Real Swift, what's the motherfucking deal? Hector, Shelby, GT, Luis Sanchez, representing Katie already. Tom all in the motherfucking house. I see y'all already. I see fuck school. Nah, you fuck with school, man. Look, fuck the Titans, fuck Mike Devlin. I fuck with that. Not fuck everything, man. You gotta leave some shit out of it. Tay Hill, what's the motherfucking deal? T-Mac, I said, I think that's how you love. We get a little double love. What's the motherfucking deal? Vampire Lord, what's the motherfucking deal? So here we go, man. We're gonna talk about some shit tonight, man, and it should be very interesting. I know people are sad because the Astros are out of it. They had a bad week, man, a very bad week, and I'm going to tell y'all why, man. You say fuck the Chiefs 2 times already. Fuck the Chiefs. Again, y'all saw that they are defeatable. And look, y'all know this is what happens around this time of year for the Chiefs like every season. They'll start off on a hot streak, and then they start letting the air out the tires. And by the end of the season, they're like, well, what the fuck happened to the Chiefs? They were supposed to be, everything. I see Anthony Washington. I see Beast Motorgate, Northwest H-Town, North Side over every side. Okay. So here's the deal, though. Before we get into the Texans versus the Jags, I do want to talk about the Texans, but I want to talk about why every other team in Houston, all the winning teams, the traditionally winning teams, or the teams that have been winning it so far, have lost. The Texans are bad juju. Now, something that we have been pointing out for quite some time is that the Astros, Rockets, they show each other a lot of love. Texans are like the little stepchild or the little brother, you know what I'm saying, that really don't get that love. But the Texans have been trying to be in the convo this week, hey, Rockets, shout out to the Rockets. And they went and got all the pictures of the Texans who actually shot that first shot in the Rockets, or J.J. Watt sitting on the sideline, Tyrann Mathieu at the games and stuff like that. They showed all those pictures. What happens? Rockets fucking lose. Hey Astros, good luck Astros. We hope the Astros get the win. What happens? The fucking Astros lose. Whenever the Texans get the juice, think about what was it, last Sunday? Texans get the win, Astros couldn't get the win. When the Texans get the juice, They suck all the winning spirit out of the rest of the town. I don't know what it is, and I hate to say this about myself. I love the Texans, but it's just like when the Texans do good, everybody else is doing bad. Think about it last year. When the Texans were doing good or starting to look like they were doing okay, Astros win it all. Texans fall all the way off. Deshaun gets hurt, and it's just we can't have nice things, man. We just can't have all kind of nice things at once, and it is what it is. But I want to get the round table. I want to get your thoughts on it. Do you feel like we just can't put all of our programs, get 3 winning programs at one time, or what is the problem with that? Why can't Houston get it all together at once? What are your thoughts on that one, Wink?
Man, I don't know what the fuck it is, bro. Maybe it's because we got a black quarterback here. Maybe shit changed up. I don't know. It's a this didn't happen until we get the black quarterback. Read into whatever you want. It could be good or bad. Some people already voiced their opinion about how that feels. Some in the chat, some are superintendents of the fucking school districts. I mean, we just don't know. But it's kind of hard to say. Like we can't have good things. We can't 3 solid wins. I think another sign we're gonna know if we're gonna win or not if Texas. I don't think we're gonna win. So we definitely need Texas to lose. The hook 'em horn. We need them to go ahead and lose, because I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go back and go look at every single game that they won. And if we won, they lost. Or if we won, they lost. Like it's one way. It's one way or the motherfucking other. I mean, we just can't have good things, bro. It's sad to say. I'm not quite sure what it is to put on here. I don't know what route has been put on the city of Houston when it comes to sports franchises, but somebody don't like us, bro. Like whoever in the control of making sure that destiny, fate, luck, however you want to phrase it, in terms of sports fandom goes, we're just not blessed with that, with those types of abilities. The only thing that you could probably say was when we got back-to-back championship with the Rockets, because we was definitely smelling our piss a long time then, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you couldn't tell us nothing. We didn't give a fuck. We felt like shit. Fuck Jordan. If he was in the league, he probably would have got bounced off, or probably wouldn't even have made it. And even if we made it, we would have whooped his ass too. So I mean, that's just the way we was feeling, and back then. But I'm not quite sure how to tell it, Honcho, man. It just don't look like it's just in our destiny. I mean, I wish I could just put ahead and just put it on some cliche type shit. But at the end of the day, it comes down to play and execution. And clearly, the Rockets or the Astros didn't play well or execute. Because, I mean, the games were practically blowouts in both of those events. And hopefully, shit doesn't come to light for the Jacksonville Jaguars this weekend, and we end up showing people like Clarence. And make sure you hear Clarence, because we need you to call in tonight on the Sauceline to give us your take on how this game is going to go. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hand it off to Teddy, man. And I'm pretty sure he's finna run this bitch to the end zone.
Man, I think Teddy might disagree with a little something you said there. But what you got, Teddy, man?
Wait, man, you leave my damn Longhorns out of this, okay? They've been winning since week 1, okay? Okay? They 6-1 or 5-1, some shit like that, okay? They've been winning. It's not the Longhorns fans' fault, okay? The Longhorns are in rebuild mode, and we're doing good, okay? We
I'm
just
a
got raked again.
Too, bro.
They just got raked again, Wink. Leave them alone, okay? Houston and Austin, they're close, but they're not that close, okay? Okay? But as far as, like, the Astros go, man, I mean, I'd hate to say that the Texans winning steals the juice from anybody else, because I really think that the Astros they lost that motivation in this game, in this series. Honestly, after that first game, they just couldn't get it back, and they let 4 go straight. And it's still an accomplishment to make it to the ALCS. I mean, there's a lot of baseball teams. There's a lot of baseball to be played throughout their seasons. So it's not easy to get back there. It seriously is not. I mean, the Cubs won it 2 years ago, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So, I mean, that's just how hard baseball is. There's just so much diversity in that sport. And as far as the Rockets, I think it's just the Rockets getting their groove back. I mean, I know they started off hot last year, and now they just got a little slow start, just the first game. I don't think it's anything to really worry about. And with the Texans, man, I mean, just look at how our fucking season started. Fucking dropped 3 in a row, fucking stumbled to 3 wins barely. I mean, really, it was on the fault of the opponents that we really won those games. I mean, look at the 2 overtime wins, and then look at the fucking Peterman fucking interception. I mean, he threw back-to-back interceptions. So it's not exactly like it's the Texans stealing the juice. I just think that the Texans are so bad, they are our lightning rod right now. Because even though they're 500, we know they should be so much better. And the simple fact that they're not being better fucking affects how we feel about the other shit. So they become that black cat, that black sheep that nobody wants to fuck with, that everybody says, okay, it was your fault. You showed up to the game, J.J. Watt. You cost the Rockets the fucking game. Or fucking y'all did y'all home run celebrations and we couldn't fucking hit a home run at all. You know, it's just one of those things that as fans, we link that shit together in our minds.
Now, yeah, for those of you who ain't played the lotto, don't even go ahead and get no ticket. Don't even worry about it. That bitch already mine. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna see some super sauce dripping. But I see y'all in the chat talking about it. You know, we talking about $1 billion, you know. But I ain't going for that annuity shit. You know, I'm gonna get this straight cash. So I'll take about 600 mil, you know, and chill. I guess that's all right. So, but I put it in my pocket.
565. Yeah, that's the payout cash option. I already checked.
I'm gonna see if I can stuff $565 million in my pants and walk around with a whole lot of armed guards. So anyway, here's the deal, man. Let's kind of get into it. You know, we talking about the negative. We talking about the negative impact of the Texans or how we feel as fans, because we know the other 2 programs are more seem to be more successful as of late. Rockets' first game of the season, it really doesn't matter. It's just some shit to talk. But the Astros were in a situation where they were in contention, and let's not put all the blame on the Texans. The Astros talked some shit themselves, and they had to back that up, and it didn't fall in line. The umpires did definitely put their foot in it, you know, but it is what it is. So we ain't really going to get all upset about that, but it is. And even the fans put their hands in it, but we're not going to complain about it, you know, what happened to the Astros, because the situation, you know, it's a thin line of what could have happened. But let's talk about some good stuff, and then let's kind of get into this matchup with the Jags, man. We've yet to really talk about Andre Howell coming back. We haven't talked a whole lot of football this week, so you know, thank goodness for that. That's a great story. To only be diagnosed a couple of months ago, to already be back on the practice field and possibly back with the team by November, playing very soon. I haven't heard too much more about Foreman, but I'm believing he's supposed to be getting ready to go soon. Hopefully back in action. I think they have like 3 weeks to figure out what they're going to do with him. Watson practiced all week as opposed to last week. And, you know, you practice or you play how you practice. And he only practiced, Friday last weate, I think, really, and still didn't really go through all the drills. So I think that had a small impact, considering that the guy is still – I hate kind of using this, but as far as game time, still a rookie, you know, as far as time on the field professionally, you know, hasn't had a full season worth of games yet, you know, coming up soon, but still, you know, he needs every bit of assistance that he can get, especially behind that line, because the line is terrible. And talking about a terrible line, Fulton is hurt. Ankle injury is going to be a game time decision. So I believe that puts Greg Manx up and looking to see what he can, but I have no problem with Greg Manx. Like I have no issues with him. He's usually has come through when his number has been called, whether it was at center or guard. So I have no issues necessarily with that. But let's talk about the Jags. Let's talk about the Texans. Now, Fournette. This is something we've been talking about we talked about this last year. We talked about this early this year. And shout out to Chandler, because Chandler said a shout out from the Sauceline to me, Wink, and Tenny. So shout out to Chandler for always holding down the Sauceline, man. I always greatly appreciate that. I mean, ignore you look. Yeah, I've been getting a little bit rusty. I forget to check the Sauceline. But we've been said, you know, even though somebody, some particular sauce watchers have been talking about Shaolin. What's the motherfucker you say you out of here after you win the lotto? But some particular Jags fan has been. He even gave this guy a nickname. What was it? BB5, like, you know, BB, like a BB gun, maybe red rifle, BB gun, Red Ryder, BB gun. I don't know. The Jags go as Fournette goes, and Fournette ain't been going. Fournette has started 2 games, has been unavailable for the majority of the season, is expected to be out again this game. And so, you know, we've seen what happens when they have to rely solely on Blake Bortles. The other guy went down, not Yeldon, I forgot their other back. So they went out and they got Jamal Charles. Today they made a play for Carlos Hyde, and I think that was a good deal. They finessed the Browns with that, but the Browns are, you know, it is what it is. But Hyde will not be available this weekend because he got picked up today. You know, on a Friday they're walking in pans if they're doing walkthroughs or whatever. He's not going to have time to implement himself into that, or they're not going to have time to implement him into the offense. Now, here's the situation, though. I think what we're doing is we're facing a similar situation like the Bills, and I want to know your thoughts on this. We'll start with Tenny and then with Wink. But I feel like we're in a situation with the Bills because I don't think Blake Bortles is good. He has his numbers that he's put up. He's 61%, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 145 completions out of 237 attempts. Got about 40 attempts a game. Has about 1,674 yards, averaging about 7 yards an attempt. Now, 81.1 rating, has succumbed to 14 sacks. Now, certain numbers like that, we talk about sacks, we can't talk shit. Our line is trash. The Jags have what you would have thought would be a stalwart line, but they have not necessarily been, you know, they're not getting those holes. Again, Fournette is who he is, and without him, it's a different look. And again, with a line like that, you would expect to see much better performance, but you know, it is what it is. You put Deshaun behind that line, you're having a completely different conversation. So I kind of want to know what y'all think, man. Is this a similar situation to Josh Allen and the Bills, a good defense that we're going to be facing, and a so-so offense who really depends on their running back for the most part, but this time their running back's not going to be available? You know, they relied heavily on Shady and Allen went down. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this one, Tenny?
Yeah, it's absolutely the same kind of situation. I mean, you got a really good defense, and quite honestly, the Jags' defense is way better than the Bills, and we know this. We know that they got even better secondary that feasts more on their ability than what the Bills did just off of what they got out of the pass rush. And I went and looked at it, and I was trying to figure out what the fuck's been going on with the Jags, because I saw earlier in the season that they were going to the short pass game, you know, making shit happen with their feet and crap like that. But when I went to their past 2 games that they just dropped, and Clarence, y'all did drop 2 games. The first game that they dropped, the offense had like a total of 400 fucking yards. They just couldn't score. I mean, it was almost like fucking looking at some of the shit that we do offensively as our team. And they do all this fucking garbage time yards, and they can't capitalize on it, and they can't score. And then you look at last week's game, they were just completely shut down by the fucking Cowboys. I mean, absolutely dominated from fucking quarter 1 to quarter 4. And again, they couldn't fucking score. And I think what's going on with it is a lot of it is going on with the Jags' ability to score is because they're not getting those great turnovers or the great field position that's putting them in available spots to get field goals, to use that short pass game. Because they got quick receivers. Their guys aren't slow or anything. But, you know, when they get that optimal optimal yardage, they tend to fucking be able to score. And the Jags just simply haven't been able to do that right now. And I called this shit way back last year at the end of the season. Or even, like right at the end of the season. I knew Fournette, the way they used him, the way they fucking constantly pounded him, he wasn't lasting last year very well. He missed a few games. And I knew this year he was going to suffer from that shit. Now, Fournette is a really good running back. We cannot deny that shit. We have to give credit where credit's due. But the way the fucking Jags are set up right now, it's an early fucking grave for his career right now. and that's not a fucking lie. And I can see the chat off in the corner of my eye. I don't know if it's fucking Clarence is getting upset about this, but Clarence, you got to bring it down to reality right now. And the simple fact of it is that your whole fucking offense runs around fucking Fournette. Nobody else is fucking scoring for y'all unless Fournette's out there on that fucking field. We already knew from years prior, TJ Yeldon's fucking trash. We knew fucking Jamal Charles has fucking lost everything that he used to have when he was with the Chiefs. And fucking honestly, your fucking defense isn't tackling well enough because fucking where our defense fucking held fucking Zeke to 40-something yards, he ran all over y'all's asses. So, I mean, right now, there is a lot of fucking disciplinary as far as tackling goes for their defense right now, but there's still a fucking problem. And for us to go into this game, we can't be turning this ball over in the fucking red zone. We can't be turning this fucking ball over in optimal field position because they will capitalize on that shit like they did last year and eat us up with field goals. And that, I'm talking about game one when we beat them in week one, because that's the only way the fucking Jags win this game is creating those turnovers and getting that great field position and just kicking the fuck out of that ball.
All right. Same question for you, Wink, man. How are you feeling? I mean, do you see this being a similar situation like against the Bills? And kind of where do you see the weaknesses at in the Jags right now?
No, they don't have the right as of now. Their pass rush, their front seven hasn't played nowhere near to their effect, and they have caused nowhere near the amount of turnovers and getting the sacks and pressures that they were getting last year. The Bills, hands down, the Bills and the Ravens are probably putting the most pressure on anybody in terms of creating turnovers, getting sacks, getting to the quarterback hits, and things of those nature. Yeah, when you're talking about the secondary, I mean, yeah, they're beasts, but I mean, they can be exploited. They've been getting exploited, and we're not gonna act like we don't have the weapons that have put up some good numbers against Jalen Ramsey since he's been in the league. Nobody probably has more touchdowns or more touchdowns than DeAndre Hopkins against Jalen Ramsey. And AJ Bouye is going to be holding and getting all kinds of penalties against Will Fuller if he has to go get him on top, especially if he can't press him off of the line. And that's going to be their best bet. If he gets and he beats him off of the line, bro, sayonara. If Will Fuller is getting past and they playing press coverage, I want Deshaun Watson to identify those matchups, know when you got one-on-one on the outside, and let these boys have it, because no corner is safe when DeAndre Hopkins is your wide receiver one. And who's gonna stop Kiki if they get him right? If we talking only if we game plan right, because we already know how this game can go wrong very quickly against this Jaguars team. For one, the coaching is that's number one, because Doug Marrone is a far better coach than Bill O'Brien. He's already proven that with two separate franchises, and I'm a firm believer, and I knew when he went there and he was paired up with Tom Coughlin, I already knew that was going to be destined for greatness. But the only thing that holds them back is their quarterback. Their offensive line has not played well. From what I'm hearing, Norwell has been he's been boo-boo from what I heard, from what I'm hearing from Jag fans. So maybe I need to go ahead and get on YouTube and go ahead and go watch some tape of Norwell, because he ain't been putting it down from what I heard. TJ Yeldon, he don't stand a motherfucking chance against us. We stop the best running backs in the league week in, week out. It's no problem. And what we did to Zeke and what has already happened to Zeke, and let's just be real, Jadeveon Clowney, J.J. Watt, and Kareem Jackson got Blake Bortles' number. We already know what it is. And this team, this ain't no week one where we coming off for a flood where dudes can't practice the last preseason game. They can't properly game plan beforehand, So we're gonna have to go ahead and we're gonna have to back up a whole lot of shit, because I'm willing to talk some shit today, because we 3-3 right now and their team ain't really no better than us. A few weeks ago, I was willing to concede, and y'all heard me on the post game say, "Hey, Clarence, y'all got it." Now I'm changing my tune now. So this game is going to come down to the battle of who has the best game plan, and at the end of the day, whose quarterback doesn't lose the game.
Absolutely, and I think that's where it's going to count. Now we're going to need Deshaun not to play any home run ball. You know what I mean? Just stay within the confines of the game. But we're going to need Bill O'Brien to, make some better play calls. He's going to have to adjust. Get some quicker things going. I got a text I want to read, but before that, I give credit where credit is due. Early on, Clarence had called in a couple of times, and hopefully he'll call in today. I'd love to see his side. I'd love to hear from a Jags fan, and we'll have a Jags fan joining us on Sunday to talk pregame. But right now the Sauceline's not open. It'll be open in a bit. But, you said something about that Jags culture early on with Tom Coughlin returning and what he brought to that organization. A couple of Fridays ago, maybe 2-3 Fridays back, excuse me, we had Seth Payne on. And Seth Payne basically confirmed basically the same thing as to what you said, because he talked about how meticulous that Tom Coughlin is, and he gave Tom Coughlin a lot of credit for what's going on with that Jags organization and those things being in place in the way that he operates. And I'll give it to you because you did put a lot of stock into Tom Coughlin. You had a lot of faith in him. You said a bunch of things, and you were definitely – so I'll give you that, because I've definitely clowns us. Yeah, whatever. That was the Giants. And so, like I said, I have no problem giving credit where credit is due. But this weekend, I think the tables will turn. Now, I'm going to read this text, man. I want no shout-out real quick. Hold on one second. Let me adjust everything properly. Let me pull it up. Well, let me slide this over here so I can pull it up. But I think I do definitely agree with you about what you said. That's about who's gonna give the game away when it comes to quarterbacking. Because right now, neither one of them have great stats. Shout out to my boy Ricky D, man. And I think this is an open letter to Bill O'Brien. And so we're gonna run this down and want to know what y'all think. He says, "Dear B.O.B., let me get straight to it. It's okay to be a copycat. Last week I saw Cole Beasley make the likes of Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Bouye look dumbfounded. Slant routes, up and outs, dart routes, etc. You possibly possess a better slot receiver in ckin. With the likes of Bouye and Ramsey having to guard Will Fuller and Hopkins, this needs to be the ckin show. You also have a QB that is comfortable throwing to the slot receivers. Lastly, if we have the ball before the half with 3 timeouts and we're at our 30-yard line, you can please use one of those fucking timeouts to tell your young QB that if it's not open on 3rd down, to just throw the fucking ball away. I like field goals because when we can't get 7, 3 still goes on the board, and that can go a long way. The past 2 games, we were going to get the ball in the second half, and you wiped your ass for 3 points, and our QB threw yet another INT in the end zone. To make matters worse, we turned over the ball to start the second half. Those 3 points could have gone a long way in both games. Lastly, stop running the ball up the middle on 2nd down. 1, Lamar Miller sucks up the middle, and Blue is too slow hitting the hole. 2, if I already know it, I'm sure the DCs do too. He said, I feel the QB that makes less mistakes in this game will win. And I have to send that a shout out to Ricky D because he sent this yesterday, actually. And I think he touched on some very valid points. And I think it's going to be about, the simple thing, just making less simple mistakes. You know what I mean? It's the simple things that the Texans have not been able to capitalize on, or not even capitalize on, but just have been letting fall through the cracks. And I think that's been our biggest problem, disciplinary issues, little bitty things that have been hurting us. So kind of throwing that open letter out there. I want to know your opinion. Tenny, do you agree with some of the things that Mr. Ricky D is saying, or what would you agree with? What would you disagree with? Should this be the ckin show? Because, Will Fuller, DeAndre Hopkins, 2 extremely talented receivers, and they have Bouye and Ramsey. They should be occupied. And with ckin, he should have a field day. We saw what he's capable of doing that first game he came. Do you think that that's accurate, saying that this should be the ckin show this week?
Yeah, it absolutely should. Going to a short game, you got to rely more on to the slot guy. And Kiki has proven that he's got the talent to open it up and use his ability for speed to make plays. So, he has to be part of this game plan this week. We have to go short game, and we have to push it. And, we can't be waiting for the fucking long routes, the out routes and all that shit to develop. We got to get fucking Hopkins off the sideline. Because those routes always put him out to the sideline and shit like that. We got to get him moved around. It was like the other day I was watching Larry Fitzgerald and how they were using him. They'd move him. They have him out on the outside of the left in the end zone. They ran a fade route. It didn't work. What they did is they moved him to the slot, and he came in for, a slant curl or some shit like that. He fucking hit it and got it in the end zone and got a touchdown for the Cardinals. Even when they were losing, these guys were actually moving their playmaker around. So, you got to start with Kiki. You got to get him to open this shit up. And once he opens it up, Then you start moving Hopkins into those positions, and you start giving him those routes, and then Hopkins will keep it open. And then the next thing you know, Will Fuller gets a fucking blast on somebody, and he can use that speed to just pass him right up for a long route for a possible go-ahead touchdown from 40 yards out. I mean, Bill O'Brien just is not being innovative with this offense. He's not taking into consideration that the offensive line sucks like it does. And he's forcing them to play fucking games that they're not capable of playing. They have to be capable of holding the fucking defense to at least 5 seconds. At least 5 seconds. They need 5 seconds for these route trees that he has our wide receivers running. So, I mean, I don't see any other choice but starting with Kiki, then getting Hopkins involved, and then using Fuller for them explosive plays. Because that's the only way that we can be able to compete with this secondary, because we have to use the smoke and mirrors, because they are not a fucking rollover kind of secondary. AJ Boye, fucking Jalen Ramsey, they are the fucking real deal, and they're going to be the real deal for at least another year before, unfortunately, most of the time that stuff they knocks out fucking great players like that is injuries start to happen throughout the year. So they're definitely healthy. They're doing their thing, and fucking until one of them goes down, expect this fucking secondary to still be good. And you've got to use smoke and mirrors. You've got to use the shit that gets it out quick and just gets the ball into the player's hands.
Okay. And shout out to Jagganoff. I would add into the thing, but I'd have to adjust too many of the things. The way I got it set up is a little kooky, so I'd have to kind of do a bunch of little tweaking and shit. But otherwise, I would, because I definitely want to hear your opinion. But when we open up the Sauceline here, I'd be more than happy if you called in. You know, give some of your points. So here's the deal. Wink, man, your thoughts, man. What is the angle in which the Texans need to utilize? I mean, do you feel like Keke Coutee will be the impact player of this game? I mean, is this the guy that the Texans are going to have to rely on? I mean, do you or what do you see the Texans doing to find some success against this Jags secondary?
He's one of many, but one thing that they definitely been exploited against all year: wheel routes and short passing games, and like not being able to tackle in space against running backs. Running backs have killed these dudes. So talking about Keke, let's go ahead and get Lamar Miller out in space. Let's see what their asses do. Dial up some better screens that don't look as predictable. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get Jordan Thomas and Jordan Akins finally involved in the game. Nobody's going to be able to contend with either one of them if we get them the ball. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, they're not checking for Jordan Thomas or Jordan Akins. You're not checking for them at all. So at the end of the day, you might want to go ahead and get guys that you know that they're not going to game plan for. If they game plan for Lamar Miller, it's really going to be in the, you know, they're going to be prepping for him, because at the end of the day, when you really look at what Deshaun Watson has been doing as of late, he hasn't really been checking the ball down as much as he should have. Even though his throwing percentage is very up, which I said it would be at the point of the season, he's only 5% off of what I projected his overall average to be at the end of the year, which was 65%. I said he's going to throw for 70%. It looks like he's going to be able to do that as long as he doesn't do any dumb plays. And if he does things like throwing the ball away, checking the ball down to his running backs, Alfred Blue and Lamar Miller can eat this team right the fuck up, because we don't know. Honestly, we don't know what shape Calais Campbell is going to be in this game. He's the other guy that you're going to end up having to make sure that you game plan against, and you're going to make sure that you have to game plan whoever steps in place of him when they have to sub him out, because he's not going to be able to play the whole game at full speed. So make sure that you're doing what you have to do against Yannick Ngakoue, Miles Jack, and Telvin Smith. As long as you're smashing the point at the tech, they don't have any middle linebacker who's going to come up in the A gaps or B gaps and really make sure that they whamming dudes and take you out of position. So they're at fault when it comes to their middle linebacking core and their strong safety. If you take advantage of those positions and take advantage of their slot corner, because let's just face it, DJ Hayden don't want no smoke with Keke Coutee. So go ahead, like Tinny and various other people said, make sure that you get these guys involved in the run game. Make sure that If you're gonna run Lamar Miller, he's hitting the edges, and he's running outside zone concepts and stretch plays and things of that nature. And I guarantee you, this team will end up having success if they keep the route tree, if they keep everything, pretty short. If you are gonna run along routes, run posts. Like there's no reason for you to go ahead. That's 10 yards, and then you cut out. You know what I'm saying? 10 to 15 yard posts. Skinny posts. You can switch it up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. I don't understand why this team doesn't really run corner routes. I don't understand why they don't run. It's a few routes that these guys could really run. Run more curls. Run some ends, some shorts. Some 5-yard end plays, and let these guys work into space. I guarantee you, the Jaguars are going to end up having guys who are going to come up. They're going to have too many guys playing in the box because they're not going to be respecting this run game, and you're going to leave a lot of other guys open in coverage. And at the end of the day, the Jags fans already know where their faults rely when it comes to this defense. And they know what's been, they know exactly what it is. And we know exactly what this team needs to do offensively to win. We've been preaching week in, week out, and everything we suggested has come to fruition. It's just that this team hasn't executed, and we had a head coach who hasn't put the players in the best position at times. But I'm not going to put it all on him, and I'm not going to put it all on the players. It's just a collective thing, and the front office is doing nothing to protect Deshaun Watson going in week after week.
All right. So here's the deal. And I agree, man. That's the big problem, and that's what I want to look at. That's what I want to talk about, man. The big issue is, again, secondary. I think that we can do some things. We can work with what we have. We have some top-notch receivers. You looking at their side of the ball, and again, this is where I say it's similar to a Bills situation. The Texans' offense is it's week to week right now. Deshaun had a nice little streak of a couple of 300-plus yard games. Really weren't finding the end zone. Red zone troubles have still plagued us. That's a problem that we are constantly dealing with. But looking at our defense versus that offense, and we've already stated how the Jags basically go as Fournette goes, and Fournette is not going this weekend, and so I think that bodes well in our favor. Because if you're just looking at a defense versus defense, and they may be in a better position overall than we are now, but going against that offense, we can definitely eat. Clowney and Waterstar have been finding themselves the last few weeks. We're still waiting for the emergence of Whitney Merciless. We've seen Young Reed making plays, and against a guy like Bortles, he's a guy that will turn the ball over, and I think that's going to be the key. Now, we had some situations where we were able to get turnovers throughout the season, but we haven't capitalized on those turnovers. And I think the offense has to find a way to turn turnovers into points. And again, I saw Ricky in the text. He was talking about, hey, man, for getting greedy, I know we get tired of saying, hey, we get tired of the threes, we get tired of the field goals, but I'll take a field goal over nothing any day. Plays like Deshaun made it that last game, just heaving the ball into the fucking end zone. I mean, there was really nobody around to make that play straight to the defender's hand. I mean, you can't do shit like that because there's obviously not going to be any success when you just, this ain't backyard football. You know what I mean? We can't do that type of shit. But I want to get your thoughts, man. We'll start with Wink, and I want to know how you feel our defense versus that offense, truthfully. Where can we find favorable matchups? Their receivers, they have some talented receivers, not on the level of what we have, but should we be able to eat against a guy like Blake Bortles and what they have in their wide receiving core?
The fact that Cam Robinson has been out and he tore his ACL, what was that, like week 1 or something like that? He tore his ACL or he had some sort of knee injury like early on. They put him out of the season for good. Norwell hasn't been playing good, so I'm expecting a guy like DJ Reader and Angelo Blackson to handle him. Yeah, they got Lindler. He's a good player, and they got Parnell. He's a good player as well. But let's be real, J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney can take care of both of them. And so if you really are bringing concepts where you're running stunts and you're bringing dogs and you're doing things of that nature, we got the linebacking core and the front four to take care of anything that they have up front. They running game, I'm not worried about their running game. The best thing that they're going to be able to do is to make sure that they get TJ Yeldon in space, make sure that they throw him screens and things of that nature. Because if we're not playing no tight coverage or something like that, we can be had at points in the screen game. I'm not going to act like there haven't been times during this season that we haven't been vulnerable against running back screens, because we have. They don't have a tight end that I'm worried about. So Austin Safari, this dude sucks. And I told everybody that this dude sucks. I told John Lopez, Landry Locker, I told Clarence. What has he done for y'all? Make sure when y'all call in, Jagging Off and Clarence, if you in, you tell me what Austin Safari and Jenkins has done for y'all. But don't worry, I'll wait. Blake Bortles, this dude sucks. At the end of the day, bro, Kareem Jackson, of any player that Blake Bortles needs to make sure that he doesn't go towards, and I'm not gonna lie, J. Joe can yet again. If he's in the right spot, if he recognizes something pre-snap, and if he sees it before he does it, he could jump up another ball and take this shit straight back to the house like he did last week against the Bills. This is a poor quarterback that we're playing against, and we've had more than enough success, more than enough tape. The only difference between now and then is that now he has a premier defense to aid him against the mistakes that he makes in football games on the offense. D.D. Westbrook and Kellen Cole's speed concerns me. I'm not going to act like their speed doesn't concern me, but at the end of the day, they can be taken out of games just as well as anybody else. Yeah, they caught us with our pants down last year because, I mean, let's just face it, the defense was deplorable. We had no corners to speak of. They were playing way worse than they are this season. And if we're going to be real, outside of the Colts game and maybe the Patriots game somewhat, the corners in the secondary of this team has not really been a detriment. When we really go back and go look at the film, they haven't been as big as a detriment as they were last year. If this was last year's secondary, man, I'd be saying, bro, hang it up. You know, they finna go ahead and they finna beat us 31 to maybe 19 or some shit like that. But because they don't have the big play op, you know, like Marquise Lee, if he would have been playing in this game, it'd have been a totally different situation. And that's another dude. I told Clarence Marquise Lee was not going to finish the season. Where did he finish? Oh, he went out, week 1, week 2? Something crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I know this squad, bro. They think we don't watch the Jaguars, bro. We watch the Jaguars year in, year out. At the end of the day, I've already given y'all credit. Even in y'all suck years, y'all have always given us great-ass games. It has always not been easy to beat y'all. We have given y'all respect. But at the end of the day, we not finna act like y'all that much better than us. Y'all got better corners than us. Let's just call a spade what a spade. Without y'all corners, yeah, ain't no position group y'all got on y'all team that's better than ours. It's nobody that we have to really be afraid of. Y'all receivers, come on, bro. We don't need to go there. I mean, maybe y'all could say Fournette is better than Lamar Miller, but if we talking career stats wise, he's not. But I wouldn't say that. I mean, he just fits what you guys want to do. And y'all definitely don't have the quarterback to compensate and pull y'all out of a situation if he gets behind. That y'all don't have. If he doesn't have a lead, he does not win. I know the stats of that too. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to call it a spade a spade. I mean, I want to hear these guys' opinions when they call in, because this game right here is going to be a critical one. And this right here is going to be very telling of who wins the AFC South. Week 7 is going to tell everything what we need to know.
All right, Tenny, we're going to get your point of view, man, and then we'll open up the sauce line for some calls, some texts, and all that good stuff. Our defense, that offense, where can the Texans capitalize?
Really, the Texans need to capitalize on every punt that we force the Jags to do. We absolutely have to. So the defense is going to capitalize on the fact that the Jags won't be able to get their running game going. And you got to look at the short games. We need J. Joe and Kareem to come back out with another A-game performance, because the Jags have been going to that short pass game, and it works for them when they get it going good. And honestly, man, they are absolutely a force to be reckoned with once that short game gets going. So we have to shut that shit down. Shut that shit down. And when we get them to punt, our special teams has to make something happen. We cannot sit still on this shit. Now, granted, I don't want fucking Tyler Irvin or anybody that's back there catching that ball to try to make shit happen. If you got lanes, take it, get the 10 to 15 yards, and then push it upfield. If not, call the fair catch, and then Watson has to come out and play a very clean game. We need this to be the game that snaps the INT streak, because honestly, we can't be giving the Jacksonville Jaguars defense any opportunities to set their offense up. And like Ricky said, if it's got to be 3 points, I will take a 3-point win over this shit. Ugly win, it's acceptable. The offense has to come out, establish their run the best that they can. Let's be honest. Our run game is nowhere near what it was in week 1 and week 2. So right now we just need to get the 50-yard run game, that whatever we're going to get out of it. And we have to switch gears and quit with this route tree that O'Brien's calling, and go short and just make shit happen. Get the yards, get the first downs, get in the scoring position with the field goal kicker, and hopefully catch a touchdown here and there, or fucking just settle for the threes, because this is going to be a dogfight against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are not going to give us anything that we are not willing to take. And the offense has to capitalize on, I'm going to be bold, on the 2 to 3 turnovers that the defense creates. I think they're that good. I think they're that capable. And it will happen. So I'm thinking 2 to 3 turnovers will happen in our favor. Now, we just need to capitalize on it. The defense has been playing lights out past 3 games. They could do it again in this game. It's not very hard. Bortles is subpar by no stretch. I mean, he's nowhere near being good. I'd be scared as hell if the Jags had gone for Teddy Bridgewater or made the Lamar Jackson pick. You know, that would be a fucking scary team right now, because you could take Bortles out and throw in a talented quarterback like that. And not only can he move the ball very well with their feet, they can also pass the ball. So, I mean, Jacksonville would have been set up if they went for one of those quarterbacks this year. They didn't. They settled for Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles is the fucking cause of all their woes. He cannot put consistent games back-to-back together. He's just straight up trash. I mean, he is the trash can, like Jadeveon Clowney said last year. And I saw in the comments, too, the Jags, out of the Texans and Jags, the Jags should be more worried about this loss. We could take this loss. Like, seriously, we already know the Texans are not a good team right now. But the Jags, you started off, you put an ass whooping on the Patriots, and then you turned around and dropped 2 fucking games in a row looking like trash. So, I mean, the only one that's a fucking trash can is Bortles, and he's the reason for it all.
Very, very interesting comment. So here's the deal, man. We're going to go ahead and open up the line. Hold on, I'll get that thought in just a second. We're going to go ahead and open the line so we can start taking some calls here. And look, hey, again, some of you Jags fans, I see it's a couple of y'all in the conversation. Call in. Trust me, we'll give you fair time. We'll let you express your thoughts, what it is you want to say. But again, the number, let me go ahead and get the Sauceline activated here. Definitely looking forward to, let me see. All right, let me get the proper ear gear in here. But it's funny you said something about the trash can while I'm doing this. Man, it was something I was thinking about, because I was thinking about this game, and I was thinking about Ramsey being awfully quiet this week. But, you know, him and Hop have a mutual respect for each other, and that's understood. But, you know, he likes Deshaun Watson. That's understood. But my thing is this. Hold on, we're going to take a call. I think I know who this is. All right. What's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in on the sauce line this evening?
Hello?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. There you go.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What you got? What you want to drop in the sauce line? What you want to drip on the line this evening?
I'm just y'all. It's good that you know that Wink and everybody else thinking y'all go do this, y'all go do that. But you know the game is played on the field, not by running your miles. You know, so But one thing I want to say, Wink, I know you're listening to me, dude. What I want you to do is you keep hollering about how D-Hop been 5 years, Ramsey been in the league 3 years. D-Hop only got 2 touchdowns on Ramsey in 3 years. Now, if he has more than that, send me tape on that. Let me see that. Send me tape on. Yeah, let me see that because I want to see that because I can match that and I can show you. I can show tape when Ramsey stopped Hopkins from getting a 3rd and 2. I can show when Hopkins got the ball knocked out of his hand 2, 3, 4 times. So, we can go back and forth with that. Now, as far as at a point, y'all are right, consistent up and down. You got people in Jacksonville right now really, 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 really want this dude gone. I'm not going to lie. Y'all are right about that. From one week to another, we do not know what he going to do. 1 week he's beating the heck out of the New England Tom Brady. Next week he's throwing 5, 6, 7, 8 picks. People feeling around Jacksonville right now, if they really want them to trade for a quarterback. So, I can't really, muster up this game because right now I have a lot of questions. I don't know what Blake Bortles we going to get. You got people in Jacksonville talking about we going to lose by 10. You got people in Jacksonville talking about the Jags going to lose by 20. I'm just being real with you. I'm not going to even lie. It's going to be a defensive game.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be a defensive game because y'all quarterback throwing picks, our quarterback throwing picks. Y'all playing with a quarterback with a collapsed lung and a cracked rim. And we playing with a quarterback that don't know what the heck he doing out there. So, it's a toss-up. And that's being real.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a bet, Clarence, man. I appreciate the call. I appreciate you being honest, being, truthful
right.
about it. And that's what it's ultimately about, man. I appreciate it, Clarence. We'll holler at you.
All right.
All right. Already, man. Shout out to Clarence, man. How do y'all
Y'all talking about
How do y'all feel about what Clarence had to say there? And he seemed look that's a different sound of Clarence right there.
Keys to the game for them to win and for us to win them.
Well, he's already slid off the line. We'll take this next caller. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the line this evening? I gotta figure out what his line is tripping. It was working just fine before we had all this shit set up.
Oh?
Yes, sir. What do we got? Who we got on the line this evening?
I wanted to hear what his keys to the game was going to be.
Hello?
Yeah.
Who we got calling in this evening on the line?
Yeah, this Kenneth.
Oh, shit, it's Kenneth. Kenneth, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop on the line this night?
I will only got to say a couple of things, but first, before I start, shout out to the round table. Shout out to you for doing this show. You do this for the city, and I really appreciate what you do. Keep everybody. This is what we all want. This is what we all need, and you giving it to us, so we appreciate that. But what I really wanted to say is that I feel like we could really get a win here, but I feel like defensively against the Jaguars we match up very well. And if the coaching staff if our coaching staff does the same thing that Dallas did, we can easily win this game. Now, am I saying that we have the same offensive line that Dallas did, that has a Pro Bowl left tackle, all Pro left tackle, handling can operate like that? No. But can the running backs together, with a bunch of underneath throws, can they combine? Can Lamar Miller? Wait, is Lamar? Yeah, he is playing. I'm tripping. Can Lamar Miller and Alfred Blue combine for over 100 yards? Combine both of them? Absolutely. Dallas does not have the weapons that we do. If Dallas can expose the underneath throws, with slot receivers like Cole Beasley, can the Texans do it with DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller, especially Kiki? Absolutely. Jacksonville run defense isn't as great as people think, so I'm not saying we have the greatest offensive lineman, or that we have Ezekiel Elliott, but can we run the ball solid, in a solid manner against Jacksonville? I feel like we can. And, defensively, like I said, we can match up well against them. But if we over there trying to throw the ball deep a bunch of times with this long route tree, we're going to get fucked up because we do not have the line to hold up against them guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's me being realistic. We don't have Tyron Smith. We don't have Zach Martin on the lineup. You know what I'm saying? So, but can we, we can easily put up a good amount of points if we scheme this correctly. You know what I'm saying? But O'Brien doesn't have a choice but to be, you know what I'm saying, throwing short routes because we don't have the offense. I hope he realizes that we don't have the offensive line to be going with these long route trees this game. But that's all I wanted to say.
All right, that's Beck Kenneth, man. I appreciate some very good points, man. So basically, I definitely agree with what he was saying. Basically, we can match up with this team.
Man, don't put on my phone.
Hello. What we got on there?
Claire, you still on the phone?
My phone, Clarence, it wasn't hung up. Somebody's calling you out there, man. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who we got calling in on the Sauceline this evening?
Yo, Honcho, what's the motherfucking deal? Roundtable. This is Dr. Dr. Rabbit. I'm actually okay with you guys calling me Dr. Dumbass. Anyways, enough of that. I have doubts for this game.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I just don't think that we're going to win. Now, I'm not saying it's going to turn out like last year where we get blown out by over 60 points. It's probably, the way I see it, like, we're going to lose, but it's going to be like the Patriots game where we start out terrible in the first half, but then we slowly start picking it up during the second half.
Okay. I mean, so do you feel like we will ultimately be able to overcome the game? I mean, or do you feel like there's no chance for the Texans to win this game? Let me know how you really feel. I got to figure out what's going on. Like I said, I tweaked the fucking sauce line before we got on, and now it's acting back janky. All right, what's the motherfucking deal? Who we have calling on sauce line this evening?
What's good? It's your boy Wise. Shout out to Wing. Shout out to Timmy. Shout out to Honcho.
What's the motherfucking deal?
I had to drip a little bit of sauce real fast because it's a couple of things that scare me going against this Jacksonville Jaguars team, and that's this offensive line. I mean, you got to look at a guy in Yannick Ngakoue who's been coming off a great game last week. You got to look at a guy in Calais Campbell. You got to look at a guy in Malik Jackson. You got to look at a guy in Terrell Smith. You got to look at a guy in Miles Jack. That front seven is nasty. And whatever I have been seeing from this offense since the first week of this season is incapabilities to pick up blitzes. So I feel that if this offense can't pick up blitzes and Deshaun Watson can't make the reads and Bill O'Brien can't make the adjustments, that we're gonna have a tough time trying to score on this Jacksonville Jaguars defense, especially playing at their stadium. We can't act like this team is not hungry after losing 2 games, once against the Kansas City Chiefs and once against the Dallas Cowboys. So they hungry for a win. We coming off of 3 wins that we barely won. We was given wins essentially in my books. So I feel like the Texans have to come in here and they have to play their best game if they want to win this game. Because if they come with that piss poor bullshit that we've been seeing for the first 5 or 6 weeks, they ain't gonna win this game. They're gonna get blown out, and it's gonna be a rude awakening. But the only thing that hinders Blake Bortles is that this guy is lackadaisical. I mean, when you see this guy on the field, this guy likes to throw interceptions. This guy's not even putting the ball in the vicinity of his wide receiver. So I think the secondary can have a good game. I think that guys like Kareem Jackson is going to stand out again. I think that Honey Badger needs to step up in this game. But I really, if the Texans going to win this game, it's going to be on Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's going to have a spectacular performance, one that we haven't seen this season, with multiple touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
I agree.
But that's all I have to drip.
All right, that's a bad man. Appreciate the call, Wise. Man, definitely a great call. Shout out to Wise, fellow member of the Roundtable. Make sure y'all check that out. I've seen a couple of calls come in, so man, if I missed your call, make sure you call back. You know, we ain't dissing you. It's just trying to keep it going. We let folks have their time to speak their piece, unless y'all start talking some bumbo jumbo or calling in with robo hoes and shit.
So, but a quick point for what that boy I wanted to make earlier. I'll take a ugly win, regardless of how we win against the Jaguars. Period. Of any teams that we could have beat this season,
right.
that I would gladly take ugly wins against is the Jags and the Patriots.
All right. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the line this evening?
Oh, Josh again, man.
Josh, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What kind of sauce you want to drip on the line tonight?
And first of all, I want to say is a shout out on the Den Honcho and Wink for following me. I probably followed you back earlier, but about this game, man, like Watts was saying earlier, man, this boy's hungry, man. I don't know if y'all seen the Jacksonville page, man, and like they had this coach interview, man. Like that man was pissed, dog. Like they gonna throw. I'm not saying they're gonna do what Tennessee do, but they're gonna do everything they can to probably win this game. To probably put the statement saying that, all right, man, we back. And I know Jalen Ramsey's been on hush mouth this week, so them boys waiting for Sunday to come faster than you may know it. So man, like we got to come with it. And like Ben always saying, like it's gonna come down to that O-line, man. Like I believe the O-line block, man, we gonna have a chance, but if they don't, man, it's gonna be a situation where they just gonna be kicked on hitting Watson, and then the defense gonna be feel bad because they actually like him as a player. I mean, they don't want to see him hurt, but they're just gonna do what they have to do to win again. Because if they don't, man, they're already feeling the heat in Jacksonville already after those two bad defensive performances, man. So we got to come with it, or Watson ain't gonna come out there alive. And I'm almost scared because I might end up benching my fantasy team because I feel like this whole line ain't gonna do their job because they haven't done it all year long. But we'll see how the game goes on. So really, like, that's all I got to say.
Okay, man. Appreciate the call, Josh. Very good point, man.
All right, man.
Yeah, man. It's definitely something that we got to watch out for because I think that this team is looking. I mean, y'all saw this. Somebody said they didn't realize Ramsey's been quiet. Yeah, Ramsey's been quiet. He's been quiet ever since he was on the bench in Dallas. He ain't said nothing, you know. And again, though, I don't even think it would be a lot of trash talk, period, because him and Hop definitely have a mutual respect for each other. They say they love playing each other. As far as Bouye, you know, that first game last year, you know, Fuller wasn't available. So, you know, they got to eat, they got to pray a little bit. And so, again, I think that he's going to have to pay some dues this week. You know, I don't think it's going to be an easy run like he had last time. Okay, what you got? What you got there, Tim?
Because he's absolutely right. You know, the Jags are not a team to be underestimated. Like, by any means, as bad as Bortles has been for them, and as much as their run game has been failing them, they're not a team to be underestimated. They built a very good defense down there in Jacksonville or Duval, wherever they at. But the thing is Houston Texans fans, we got to understand that our offense is still playing like a bad offense, regardless of their ranking numbers and all this stuff and how many yards they get per game and this and that. Regardless of all that, we're still a bad offense where we haven't capitalized on the things that we've been capable of doing and moving that ball up and down the field. So we're still bad. I mean, by any means, like I said earlier, if we lose this game, it's not a big deal because we've already understood what this team is right now. It's a team that doesn't have an identity and cannot set the tone in a game. And losing against the Jags is not as big a deal as we think it is. But the Jags losing to us is a big deal in Duval. It's a big deal with the Jaguars organization because they have to answer to the higher powers that be as to why did this Texan team beat you. So we are totally coming into this game as the underdog, not them. They are coming in here having to win this game. They don't have a choice other than to win this game against us. It is do or die for them.
Okay, yeah, they came in this year talking about 16-0 and talking about, we going to do Duval. A little comedian was talking 16-0. Who was it Ngakoue that was talking 16-0? One of their linemen was talking 16-0 early in the year, too. You know, we just going to go ahead and run the table and all that. So, that's definitely upsetting. And you seeing what's happening, especially taking that loss to Dallas after the Texans honestly had their way with Dallas. We just couldn't get in the end zone. And again, so that kind of shows that, hey, we made a piss poor decision by sticking with Blake Bortles. And we're paying those dues now. You had plenty of opportunity, but I give him this. Yeah.
Please pull up. I want you to finish making your point, but as you're making your point, I want you to just pull up the Jags schedule and just leave it there. And once you have it pulled up, just let me know, and you can just go ahead and finish your point right now because I'm gonna make a quick point as to why their corners have been stopping specific teams, and we're going to go into the weapons that those teams had and what weapons are available now since the teams are getting better. But go ahead and get back into your point. I just need you to pull that up.
Let me see what teams they got here. But here's the deal, though. Like I'm saying, that you have – let me see. But what you have here is that, again, they're starting to realize, they went all in on Bortles. They went all in on – quote-unquote playoff Bortles. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they were expecting, okay, Bortles finally found his way. And I'm not going to lie, last year Bortles looked like a different quarterback as they got into the playoffs, as they started kind of making a run late in the season. But the thing is, things will eventually regress to the mean. One of those things being that the Texans cannot be this bad all year, and the other thing being that Bortles was not going to be that consistent or not be as good as he had been up until that point, And so the thing about that is this. I feel like what's going to happen with that defense is our offense is shaky. If Bill can be smart, again, get the ball out of Watson's hands quick, get in the hands of the playmakers, not get Watson lit up all game. Let those guys do what they do. That our offense can stay on the field a little bit. Do I think that they're just going to have their way with Jacksonville? Absolutely not. But my thing is that we can keep their defense on the field longer than they should be able to keep our defense on the field. And eventually we should be able to wear them down. I think later in the game, take advantage of that. But early on, it's going to be a problem, and you're going to have to – let's see what here we go. You're going to have to find ways, again, to execute, and that's what we have not been doing so far up until this point. Now, what you got so far, you have the Giants, the Patriots, Tennessee, New York, Kansas City, and Dallas. And the primary were Kansas City and Dallas, where they took the L and took an L against the Titans.
Think about every single one of them teams, and they said that the Jacksonville Jaguars is like number one, and they're allowing like 181 yards a game. Am I correct? Passing yards, right? Okay, think about those two. Okay, think about those teams that they lost to, and think about the teams that they beat, even the ones with Tom Brady. They didn't have Edelman. They didn't have Gordon. They didn't have Sony Michel toting the rock the way that he is right now. So it's a matter of when you play teams as well. They lost to Tennessee with Corey Davis. We didn't lose to Corey Davis. We lost on special teams. And bad coaching from Bill O'Brien and a couple of the miscues from Deshaun Watson. The moment that they played some shrill receivers, look at the numbers that's being put up on them. Tyreek Hill had his way with that team. Kelsey had his way with this team. So we're not going to act like the Jacksonville Jaguars been playing stellar teams with live receiving cores. We're not going to act like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to let Jaguars fans off the hook. And y'all definitely need to call in and say what that is, because at the end of the day, y'all going against a lethal receiving core this week. Even if Will Fuller doesn't make it throughout the entire game, you still have plenty of other receiving options if Bill O'Brien gets them incorporated into this football game. And let's be real, if y'all do win this game, it's because of one or two things. Doug Marrone is simply better than Bill O'Brien. That's what if y'all win, that's exactly why y'all gonna win. Doug Marrone is just a better coach, and he did everything to make sure that his team executed regardless of who was in the lineup and what circumstances y'all have in terms of health.
And we got a couple of texts here. I'm waiting on some calls.
See that if y'all win, it's only because Doug Marrone is our head coach.
Okay. Now here's a couple of calls texts we had now, and one thing I wanted to say about earlier that I didn't get to get on, and that was about, because it was a comment made about Clowney and the trash. I think you made earlier, Tenny, I'm not sure, but I look at this culture of this team, and we talk about culture all the time. Wink mentioned too. We don't have an identity. So what came out the other day was Clowney said Bortles was trash last year. Bill O'Brien had a comment this week basically saying, hey, that's a very good quarterback over there. And we talked about it, and, we addressed he doesn't really believe that and all that. I'm going to be honest. I've been the biggest B.O.B. defender. I've said, hey, you got to look at other angles, and there's a lot on B.O.B., but you got to look at execution. You got to look at talent. You got to look at a lot of other things. But this comes back to coaching, and this is the reason why we lost to those Titans, because when you're not willing to drop your nuts and say what you really feel and stand behind that type of shit. Oh, we got a call coming in. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we have calling in on the line this evening?
Joe.
What's the motherfucking deal? Oh, my fault, I didn't catch that. Who we got calling in?
Hey, this is Ernest, man.
Ernest, what's the motherfucking deal, man? What you want to drop on the line tonight?
Hey, man, it's like when it comes to this game, this is my take. I think it's a pick'em, man. And the reason I say that is because when you know, everybody know the games is won in the trenches. When you look at our O-line against their D-line, hey, they got us right there. I like the matchups as for the corner, their cornerbacks against our receivers. But the problem is it's gonna come back to the offensive line holding up. Now, at the end of the day, when you look at Watson, you look at Borders' quarterback play. You gotta roll with Watson. At the end of the day, he's just a bad quarterback. But also, the reason I say it's a pick'em, man, because it's a divisional game. You know what I'm saying? You got to get about knowing he coming off, you know. I think it's going to be close, but ultimately it's going to come down to which.
All right, that's a bad Ernest, man. I appreciate you calling. I'm trying to figure out why this here keep cutting out. Like, I'm on the same place we started talking. It would cut out a little bit. But basically, he was saying, agree with about, being a bit more creative. He was saying and getting down in the trenches is essential. I don't know why the fuck this shit was doing that. 'Cause, like, I could hear you clearly. Usually, if I can't hear you, then, nobody should be able to hear you. But for some reason, that shit kept tuning. I'm going to have to tweak some more things here with the fucking Sauceline when we get off. But he had a very good point, man. And basically, he was just saying it starts in the trenches. And that's my biggest issue, because when we talk about in the trenches, that our O-line versus that D-line, man, it's not even a comparison. Like, it's especially then with Fulton having an injury, not even a comparison. And so that's why I say that's what's ultimately going to come down to play calling. Like, Bill O'Brien's going to have to figure some things out, not trying to run screens with fucking Hopkins. You got two other guys that are a little bit speedier that you need to utilize if you're going to try to run a screen game. Let Hopkins do what he does, man. Let him get out there on the island with Rams and let him work. But, again, trying to get these long development routes, you don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I mean, the Texans, there's nothing that you can do with that. But I want to get back to that point real quick, and then I'll get the roundtable thoughts on that. About the Clowney situation, and I think that's what boils it all down to, because I say the reason we lost to that Titans because you got a guy like that fucking Neanderthal, Mike Vrabel, and he don't give a fuck. One, he's in a season where he has nothing to lose, so fuck it, why not go for it? But two, being more aggressive. Man, hey, fuck them motherfuckers on the other side of that field. You know what I'm saying? Fuck them. You know what it is? Bill O'Brien wants to play like in the Texans organization. I've been saying it starts at the top, because that's probably why they hired him. Hey, we're going to get out there. We're going to be ethical, and we're going to do all the right stuff. Look, man, fuck them motherfuckers on the other side of that ball. We'll be friends after the games and shit. Like, we'll be cool after that. You know what I mean? But, like, hell, we don't want to say that, man. We don't want to get out there and we don't want to talk bad about him, man. If you feel like Blake Bortles is trash, he's trash. And guess what? Fucking Jalen Ramsey ain't got nobody putting a leash on Jalen. Jalen's saying what the fuck he want to. He's still talking. Apparently, the only time he getting in trouble is when he talking shit to the reporters. But, you ain't hear nobody in the Jags organization tell Ramsey shit about all the shit he said, having the whole fucking issue in GQ. Fucking, that was the talk of the NFL. Should Ramsey be saying that? The NFL was trying to be more upset about it than the Jags were. Like, if that man want to talk shit and make him have to back it up, then let him do that. Like, fuck all that other shit, man. Oh, well, we don't believe that. We don't want to say that, man. The motherfucker's trash, dog. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my problem with this team. And I'm telling you, as long as old man McNair is fucking running this organization, we're always going to have that. Somebody made a point earlier. Look, if B.O.B. gets canned, y'all look out for Jason Garrett or somebody, because it's going to be whoever's just going to follow the fucking rule. And that's the thing that bugs me about this fucking organization. We talked about it the other day, like, because one, McNair don't know what he's doing. Because if this guy was really in tune with what was happening, if this organization was really in tune, we were talking about why did they have to go get some outside service to go and find a fucking GM. You know, like what kind of shit is that? You know what I mean? Because again, McNair don't care. He's just happy to have a team, you know, happy to make the money. And that's why we keep telling y'all, man, until his team really shows that they're willing to do, I give the Jags this. Fournette ain't looking like he's going to be right. He's in and out. He's looking very probable every week. They went out and tried to make some plays. Hyde is not a bad running back. They went out and tried to make a move with Jamal Charles. He used to have the juice. Not saying he has the juice now, but at least they're doing things and trying to find some solid names. The Texans are going out and getting guys who was just hanging out on the street, you know what I'm saying, out there fucking just cooling, you know what I mean, not doing too much of shit, and trying to find a way to make the shit work instead of making plays, making trades. You got assets, you know, like bust a motherfucking move, man. Like there's talent out there that teams are willing to put on the market, but the Texans are not vying for that shit, and that's what frustrates me, man. The Jags feel like they can do something, and they're trying to make plays for it. The Texans right now, only thing it seems like they're trying to do is get fucking Deshaun Watson killed. But Ernest was saying again, like I say, everything's starting in the trenches about Bill O'Brien getting creative, man. I want to know y'all's thoughts on that, and then we'll address a couple of these other points, some of these other texts that have come in. So we'll start with Wink. Your thoughts on the trenches, man. Like ultimately, yeah, let's focus on the trenches. The trenches. What can the Texans do? I mean, that Jag, like Wise Calden said, that Jags front seven is serious.
Well, shit, so is our front seven. So I mean, everybody willing to just throw that away and just toss that shit to the side like our front seven don't matter. Like what's about their old line and how they had to fit? You know what I'm saying? Last time, like I said, their key free agent has been abysmal for them this season. You know what I'm saying? And they got guys like it's only so much Cornell and Lindley can do. If we being real, those are the only good old linemen that they have on the team as it stands as of right now, and they don't have a running back or any play action game to compensate good quarterback play for players to be worried about that. The only thing that's going to be able to put them in a better position is, like I said, playing their own schemes the hell out of this game. Because scheming this game is the only way their offense rolls over this defense, hands down. Now, back into your point in the line, we did just watch a game where DeMarcus Lawrence got shut down. You know, I mean, true enough, and they had a nice little pass rush. Dallas defense is not to be played with, and we went against some of the better defense like we just went against the Bills and still won the game. We could end up having a dirty game like we did last week and can win by a field goal or a pick six from Kareem Jackson. Don't be surprised if Kareem Jackson gets a tip pick or a pick six this game. I just feel like, well, and he's been cooking. Like, he's one of the better DBs this year in the league, which none of us could have ever projected. But in terms of, back to your question about their D-line versus this old line, that's going to be entirely fiction. At the end of the day, the team is false teams and of that nature, we never lose the game. You be firing on all cylinders, and at the end of the day, if right now you can't trust Deshaun Watson to be in the back of the pocket, and if he can't move, if you don't want him moving around, to make it easy for him to just shorten up the passing game like we've been saying for the last 5 weeks, it's been evident that this needs to happen, and make sure that you get both of your running involved. Get them involved, and Lamar Miller should have 7 catches. He should have at least 5 to 6 catches this game. Both of these guys can do spectacular things in space, and both of them know how to run the football. If you don't want Jacksonville's defense to be on the if you want their defense to be on the field for long periods of time, you got to run the football, and you have to run it effectively. So if it's going to take you keep running to the left side, where that's where we've had the most success, do that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, this game is going to come down to coaching and coaching only. Execution is going to play a part, but nowhere near the fact that the coaching is going to end up being, because we're going to go back and we're going to say it's a lot of plays that were left out on the field, and if Bill O'Brien would have did this and if Bill O'Brien would have did that, that's what we're going to end up talking about if we lose this game. But I will go ahead and let Tenny jump on his point.
Okay. Man, Tenny, your thoughts, man, down in the trenches, man. What can the Texans do against this Jags front seven, I mean, to find some success. Because even Wink mentioned the running game, but if these guys can't get a push, we've seen where these motherfuckers can't get a push on the 1 yard line. These motherfuckers can't get a push on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, you know, to save their lives. I mean, extend the drive, you know what I mean? So what can they do against a solid front seven like that?
Shit. Quite honestly, against a solid front seven like that, they got to get what they can get. You know, I tend to be a single-minded man, and all off season I stood up for Bill O'Brien, and I had discussions with Wink, Ray, and everybody else who looked like defectors because they would call Bill O'Brien out for this shit. And I listened to them and I heard them. And going into the season, like Wink said, it really comes down to this coaching. Bill O'Brien can call good play calls. Let's not be fooled. He can move that ball up and down the field well enough. His plays do that. But at the end of the day, he doesn't understand the capability of his line. He doesn't understand that they only can give 3 seconds and maybe 4 seconds when he goes to the passing game. He's got to understand that we cannot run the ball up the middle. It's not a capability of this offensive line. Now, if we want to run left, that would be a really great option. Davenport pushes well on the left side. When he goes into run support, he pushes well. And we need to exploit that. Absolutely. We need to get behind Davenport. We need to get behind Lamb. I know it sounds like a sin to say it, but we have to give them the opportunity to wear down this front seven. Make them tired. Fight it out. It has to be a knockout, drag-out fight, even if they're less talented than the Jags front seven, which they very much are. Davenport, Lamb, they're not as talented as Campbell, Ngakwe, and some of the other guys that they put up there to rush. They're not that good, but any man can get tired. Any man can have struggles getting to that 12th round. And that's absolutely what Bill O'Brien has to understand in this, is that if he wants to run this ball, he has to go left and right. He has to make them spin their wheels. He has to get them out there in space and run. And Lamar Miller, Alfred Blue, those guys, when they find the hole, they burst. And we don't even, like I said, we don't need a 100-yard game out of these guys on Sunday. We just need 40 to 50 yards of solid game clock control. I'm sorry, I'm still getting over the sickness. But the trenches has to be won that way. You have to concede. You have to play to your strengths. You have to play to your weaknesses also. I mean, Deshaun Watson should not have to deal with the pressures that he has to all the time. And I know fucking puts out their stats and shit and talks about everything that they want to talk about how Watson's only pressured this many times. We know an uneven pocket when we see one. We know when a fucking guard is pushed back further than a fucking tackle. We know that is not pocket fucking integrity. And that shit happens. It looks like fucking Tetris when they're out there playing. It's so uneven. You cannot draw a pocket if you freeze frame that shit. You cannot do the pocket where it goes left to right like this in a horseshoe. You can't do that with our offensive line. You do this shit, and everybody's out of place. Now, granted, they can hold guys up, but like I said, for 3 seconds. Anybody that wants to argue this for me, go fuck it to the highlights. Count it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. At 3 Mississippi, Watson has to have had that ball out, or he's getting pressure and he's getting forced out of the pocket, or he's getting forced into the arms of somebody else. And the trenches absolutely have to be won with smoke and mirrors. Like I said, this is a good defense. It's not a trash defense. This defense, you take this Jaguars defense and you put it on fucking Tom Brady's fucking team, I guarantee the NFC, the Rams, whoever the fuck's over there, cannot stand up to them. You take this defense, you put it on another fucking team with a decent ass fucking quarterback, nobody can stand up to them. This defense is a real deal defense. Don't fuck around and sleep on them, because they can create turnovers and they can give field position to shit ass Bortles, and he can fucking either keep them within field goal range or score sometimes, depending on what play calls are called. Now, I'm still not a believer in Doug Marrone. I mean, Doug Marrone ducked out on the Bills because I think that's bitch material. Doug Marrone will still always be a bitch in my book. But as far as allowing Jalen Ramsey to talk like he talks, I mean, it's very important that you let the dogs loose. Like you said, if you ain't got no dogs, everybody walks over the yard. And it's very simple to look at a fucking Bill O'Brien coach team. Nobody even has the captain C's on their chest. He makes it seem like ain't nobody above one or the other. Ain't nobody got a little bit more edge than one or the other. I was surprised J.J. Watt got to wear his Peyton Manning Man of the Year award on his fucking jersey. Like, seriously. Fucking O'Brien doesn't breed that mentality. He wants to be like Bill Belichick. He wants to have that unity kind of mind. But that shit don't work. That's why we see success out of the secondary right now, because Tyrann Mathieu is opposite of that. He is the negative energy to the positive energy. They push off of each other. Bill O'Brien ain't got no choice but to do the hush hush because he can't go fucking with that man's shit. Tyrann Mathieu has set the tone for this secondary, and where we thought that they would be absolute trash at this point in time in this league, he's the fire. He's the shit that fucking sends this defense to that next level. And not to count, I mean, anybody down there in Duval, fucking David Neal, I see your ass out there. Motherfucker, J.J. Watt is back, bitch. He's back. And Jadeveon Clowney's showing up. So go on ahead and fucking think that it's something easy, that this defense was the shit that y'all saw last year. And don't forget, we fucking still put that 19 wins on y'all's asses all time.
Bro, that 10K, that's why that 10 be getting me crunk, bro.
Look for 10,
y'all saw me throwing up the prayer hand. Y'all saw me throwing up the hallelujah just now, bro.
Oh, man. So here's the deal, man. I'm trying to figure out. I'm having some. It looked like there was a little technical difficulty on the back end. I'm trying to see what happened. This thing took me out to chat and everything. So I can't.
I want Jagging off for some more Jags fans to call in, man. That's what I want.
Man, you know what? I got somebody right now in the chat. David Neal, y'all still sorry. That's what that's your comeback? Bitch, call me when y'all get a quarterback. Call me when your head coach don't look like he gonna bail the fuck out on y'all if y'all don't make the playoffs. I mean, seriously, bro. Call in, David. The number's in the motherfucking chat. I mean, somebody shoot him the number. I know somebody saw it.
639. I know it by heart. 832-639-3747. That's 832-639-3747. Call in now.
Shit. Oh, this shit done switched me up to some other shit. Let me figure out.
Because, I mean, we've been sitting here giving the Jags all the respect in the world right now. Because we could be low and dog and dirty and shit, just talk a whole bunch of shit. But the Jags' biggest advantage right now is their ability to create turnovers and be stout on the defensive side. They ain't got no run game since Fournette done fucking crippled up and fell down. Thank you, Doug Marrone, for that one. You know, if we want to say thank you to anybody, thank you, Doug Marrone. You took your best asset on fucking offense and you beat his ass into the ground, and now he's suffering from an injury. Thank you. You helped us out big time, sir.
Man, yeah, that's something that we talked about, man. We talked about that a lot about that last year, you know, how heavily they relied on Fournette, and that, especially coming into this year, him being a little bit lighter, being a little bit slimmer, he was going to take a little bit of punishment. You see what happens when running backs try to get light. We saw what happened when Foster tried to back in the gap, you know, and Fournette's no Foster, but he tried to get when he tried to get what happened?
No, Tenny, they haven't been good. Revamp your statement. Mm-hmm.
But whenever Foster, you know, tried to do the vegan thing, you know how that changed up. When running backs try to come in the game a little bit lighter, outside of Miller, maybe the first 2 games of the season, that's not generally a thing that works very well for him. And I think that, you know, they got to keep the same form that you had. And I think that he realized that he was getting banged up. That hammy was a problem that we've been dealing with significantly this year, but it's been apparently bothering him throughout the whole entire season because he's only had, 20-something carries this whole season. He ain't really seen that many significant snaps. And I think about 20 carries and a couple of passes he's caught. So again, they're gonna end up ruining Fournette, and then they're gonna be back in another problem because they invested or they believed. Didn't they give Borders an extension or something like that? They believed in him, and that's something we talked about. Yeah, we talked about that quite a while. They throwing away money in the
3 year, $54 million.
54 guaranteed, but it was like 80 overall, right?
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, see?
That's awful, man. Yeah, so that's definitely not the lick. So here's the deal. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up and everything. But y'all make sure that if y'all want to have some more conversation, we will be in the den at 10. Tonight we're going to be talking about the government. You know, we don't talk about the government enough. We're going to be talking about the government and your personal information in the den tonight. So, again, you can check that channel out, the den at 10. Link in the description below. Join the Sauce Sports Facebook group, man, because, again, you know, we keep the conversation going throughout the day, you know, prior to getting into Sauce. I know everybody doesn't use Facebook like that, but, hey, man, get your ass up in there. Make sure you follow Sauce Sports HTX on Instagram and Twitter, and check out everybody in the roundtable, man. All the descriptions, all in this description below, all the links are available, so there's no excuse that you are not subscribed. At least either one of these gentlemen, to Wise who called in, to all of the roundtable. Shout out to Ray, shout out to Darren, shout out to Scrooge, shout out to Spitz. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody. Like I said, make sure we get that going so y'all can see who. Let me see that one, and make sure y'all check out Tenny there, so y'all can definitely get some love, man. You guys got anything y'all want to say before we get up out of here?
What I did want to say one thing about Tenny's point when he was talking about the turnovers. Do you realize the Jaguars have been horrible in terms of turnover differential, and they do not create the amount of turnovers that they created last year? Go get on you when this is over. Go look that up. Their turnover, they'll tell you, Jags fans will tell you if they in here. If Clarence and boys are still in here, and we know Clarence is still here, he'll tell you, no, they ain't really been doing this last year. They haven't been doing this. So that's what I'm saying. When we say that this guy, now I'm not saying, but as I said, when it comes to this game, the reason why, if they start to look like they can create the turnovers, will be the Jacksonville Jaguars of last year, is if Bill O'Brien lays down like he's already doing with that bullshit mentality that he has with Jadeveon Clowney. He's soft, and I guess that's how Boston boys, he's Boston baked beans, because he ain't hard. He ain't hard in Texas. He don't know how to let his nuts hang in. He ain't fit for the Texas heat. He ain't fit for no Texas toast. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, that's just what I'm saying, bro. This is what we got to deal with. And it's a shame that we even had to bring that up tonight. But at the end of the day, like Willie D say, let a hoe be a hoe.
See, man, O'Brien, he doesn't have the nerve to be different in the NFL. He doesn't have the nerve to be unique.
No.
And that is his holdback right now. If O'Brien would get out of O'Brien's way and really just hit the chalkboard, he could change the way this team plays. He could change the way they operate. He could put them on another level. He could let the dogs that have been cooped up in the house, out in the yard, run the block, fuck the bitches in heat, and really put their mark out here on this fucking league. And that's the problem. And until O'Brien changes that shit, we're always gonna have this issue. And O'Brien he just mismanages the situation. He is absolutely capable. His playbook is absolutely capable. He just mismanages the situation. And then we get onto this train where it's the player's execution. We start as fans looking outward and trying to find reasons to why this is failing. It's been 5 years. I need him to hit that next level. I need him to quit with the bullshit and really just set himself free like he did last year when Watson had to take over on the fly. He set himself free. This offense took off. We were struggling on defense because of injuries here and there, and then the injuries piled up on defense, and we just couldn't stop anybody, so it had to be a shootout. And absolutely, man, let's get back to that person. O'Brien, if you hear this, if somebody knows him, fast forward to this part, play it for him. O'Brien, get your head out your ass and start being who you were last year. Fucking call these plays freely. Do it freely. Have some passion again. And let's make shit happen.
Yeah. Stop being so goddamn nice. You too nice. Yeah, like I hate you. This is one thing I hate, and you know what? It just lets you know coaches can even leave and go to the other teams and become head coaches, even in the division, and still give their team a level of toughness that the Houston Texans have never had under your tenure or before. So thank you, Bill O'Brien, for keeping these dogs in chains and keeping them malnourished and not letting these dudes be the killers that they truly are. And that's all we got to say. But we appreciate everybody that comes through. We appreciate every Jags fan that comes through. And we got to give a major shout out to the man, Ed Honcho, for having us on. And, for always doing the right thing, man. And we holding down Houston, man. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. We love you guys.
Man, made a good point that I'm going to capitalize on that real quick. And it was actually a couple little quick texts that I did forget. We will make them real quick. But, to capture to further the points you made about dogs, man, I just seen a real sad story about a man lost his wife because his pit bull ended up turning. Said when he left to the store, went to the store for 15 minutes, came back, and the pit bull had mauled his wife to death. So, I don't know what the details of it was or anything like that. But I say that to say, to segue into this is, if you keep them dogs too contained, especially if they dogs that need to get out, like you say, and stomp the yard and get out there and let the block know that they're around, those dogs will turn on you. And I mean, if you keep trying to keep them contained, you try to keep letting them, those animals that have that wild nature, you keep trying to contain them, they'll turn on shit. A raccoon will turn on you once it gets sexually mature. They ain't got shit nothing to do with it. I just want to say that. But you can't play with real animals. And there's some animals on this team, man, but you're trying to contain them, you're trying to tame them, and that's just not gonna happen. Two quick questions. One of them said, with Fulton going out, who would you rather, Manx or? My answer is Manx, but it was Rankin or Manx. Manx all day. Just because Rankin at tackle, I didn't like what he said. I'm sure he's probably better as a guard, but Manx has already been more of a proven commodity. So I'm not going to play. I wouldn't play the whole experiment with Rankin. Well, let's try him at guard now. I don't know why they want to play with that man. You're just going to let them continue to terrorize Deshaun Watson. But real quick, and the reason I didn't want to ask this question because I hate looking ahead, but then we got a quick game coming up after that. I believe the Thursday night game. After this Jags game, looking like a former Texas quarterback is going to start. Yeah. How excited, well, like I say, I know they shouldn't be thinking ahead, but how excited should this defense be to have an opportunity to go against the man who, when they were in top-notch condition, who basically just demoralized this team in its entire existence. The one man who couldn't thrive with DeAndre Hopkins, the biggest heist in Texans history, or one of he's probably the biggest heist in Texans history. I mean, how excited should the Texans and their defense be to go up against Brock Osweiler?
Man,
bro, I'm excited. You have, bro. Oh my God! But I'm gonna tell you this right now, bro. We find a way to lose that game. Bill O'Brien, Honcho, we lose that game. Is Bill O'Brien like you can't justify losing that game, period. They don't have the receivers. They ain't got the running game. Their defense is okay. They got a nice little defense. But Brock Osweiler doesn't have enough, and the fact that he just won a game in overtime the other week against a decent team does not bode well and does not serve us in any way. And at the end of the day, I want to know your honest opinion from both of y'all. If we drop that game to the Miami Dolphins, because we're going to have to play them, and Ryan Tannehill is not going to be ready to play, so we are going to play. I'm not looking past the Jaguars, but if we lose that game, what is it going to speak to you about Bill O'Brien and where he should and should not be on this football team? I need to hear that from both of y'all.
Well, shit. I mean, honestly, if we lose this game, or if we lose that game and then this game, we'd be on another 0-2 streak. I mean, it would be business as usual for me looking at Bill O'Brien, because this is what he does. He goes on a little winning streak, then he drops a few. Then he goes on another little winning streak, then he comes back and drops a few. And that's what got us to those 9-7 records. Now, I see a lot of people saying that the Dolphins game looks like a trap game. I mean, first you got to be good to have a trap game. All right, you got to be good. Don't play yourself.
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's be honest. But as far as Osweiler, man, yeah, we weren't fucking with each other back then. And when I had to make them hate week videos and I had to fucking go out there and speak on this shit, I always had to talk about how Osweiler only knew needed to get us the 200 passing yards and like 2 touchdowns. I always had to talk up the bad shit about Osweiler. And then when he left, he was all upset in his feelings because he couldn't get the starting job in fucking Cleveland, of all places. All right, so first of all, dude, fuck it. Oh, I'm getting pissed. All right, let me calm down. All right, so Osweiler gets punked by a 4-foot Mexican dude at a pizzeria shop and a female, and this dude's kind of trying to come out here acting hard. This dude is going to get his ass handed to him. I don't even give a fuck if the Dolphins score 70 points and we don't score one motherfucking point. I know this defense going to eat on his lanky, giraffe-looking ass as he tries to scramble and run this ball. I'm telling you right now, man, I don't give a fuck about the results of the Dolphin game. I don't give a fuck. But as long as I get to see this motherfucker pay his dues for the shit he did to Houston and the boss fucking this shit was as bad as the Bradford signings, and all these teams keep signing Bradford. That's how bad that Osweiler signing. We paid a fucking nobody to come up here and eat up time, and it was so absolutely annoying knowing that he was on this team. And I laughed my ass off when Tom Savage, Mister, I can't find a job. Tom Savage right now, he fucking took the job from him. So fuck Osweiler. I can't wait for that one. I hope he plays. I hope his linky ass gets snapped in half by JJ.
Now, I want Jadavian to take care of that boy.
Calls. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the sauce line real quick? Hello. Well, it might be on me. But yeah, I wasn't even expecting no calls. I was actually going to turn the thing off. But whoever that was, I apologize. But we're going to pause the calls here. But here's the thing. I'm going to answer this question. And then we're going to call the refs. So my bad on that one. Here's my thing. I'm not even going to entertain it. I'm not even going to put that out into the universe simply because just looking at this Texans team as it has been on and off until these years, this year, I don't even want to. I don't even, because what is the one thing that we always say about teams in Houston? People who leave end up coming back and having a field day against their former team, even if it is trash ass fucking Brock Osweiler. So I'm not even going to put the energy into the atmosphere. If it happens, oh, trust me, I will have plenty to say. But I'm not even going to entertain it because, again, like I say, and the thing was, it was Chicago he went against. That was a good point by Voodoo Child. That was Chicago's defense that he went up against. And, so that means it's not like it's outside the realm of possibility, because ultimately what could happen, what's going to happen with that situation is he's going to turn the ball over. And it's going to be up to that offense to capitalize on those turnovers. And if not, then, we'll see what happens with that. But, again, let's just get past the Jags first, because again, I don't want to go past this because we have enough problems on our hands this weekend before we get dealing with Miami. But if that happens, trust me, you're gonna hear some things that y'all haven't heard this year. And I know somebody asked about Andre Howell coming back. Absolutely, we kind of talked about it briefly earlier. I still think it'll be a couple of weeks before he's available, but it would be good to see him get back on the field this year. And I think that would be a very inspiring story, not only for, Texans fans, but I think just people around the league, around the world, just to that these things are beat. Yeah, that you can beat this if you got the right mindset. And, he did it without chemotherapy. And I know that that's a conversation we'll have in the den, because when it gets to talking about getting to talking about the nuances of the medical industry and all that other stuff, it's not always about what's best for your health. Sometimes it's about what's best for the pocketbook, and I don't want to get all into that because, again, this is Salt Sports. But again, if y'all like interesting conversation, y'all like talking about some more controversial topics, hearing different opinions and debates and things like that, man, make sure y'all subscribe to the den. It's always a good conversation. Matter of fact, I think I'm like 7 or 8 away from getting to 500. So if y'all ain't fucking with the den, go ahead and subscribe to the den for your boy, so we can go ahead and solidify that, get that nice round. Oh shit, what we got? Oh shit. Appreciate the love, Voodoo and Ray. I didn't even see the much, but I think Say if not for Brock, no Watson. You have a point there. You have a point there. What if Brock would have fooled us for a year and been decent, been exposed himself? We'd have been in a whole other conversation. But again, we don't got the galloping giraffe anymore, and I'm okay with that. You know, we just got to get a fucking line to protect the guy that we do have. Otherwise, it's going to be trouble. But, again, man, I appreciate y'all. Shout out to the round table. Shout out to Sauce Nation. We can get up out of here, man. Man, I just, like I say, man, another fucking Friday. I don't know if I saw enough fuck whatevers, but you know, we'll take it. We'll take it. But again, Den at 10, appreciate everybody, man. Like I say, if you're not followed on the social medias, that's where you get the most up-to-date information, you know, as far as what time the sauce is going to be, you know, if we're going to be in or out to mix, anything happens like that. So make sure you give it a follow. We appreciate it. Make sure you go subscribe to the channels down below. Make sure you slide by staysaucy.com and check that out. And for the rest of y'all, I know y'all waiting on your item. I got y'all just, like I say, had a couple little hiccups, but I got y'all coming very soon. So stay tuned for that. But with that being said, man, I appreciate all the new folks. I appreciate all the old folks who've been holding down the original flavors. But with that being said, man, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Most of all, y'all stay saucy, and we out.